Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Delwin Graham. I'm a portfolio manager and partner with Graham Wealth Partners, who is part of Canaccord Genuity Wealth Management. Today I'm joined by Jeff Haggerty, who is the financial planner and estate planner for Graham Wealth Partners. I asked him to talk to us today about the effects of COVID-19 on the insurance industry. The reason why I did this, my clients are starting to ask about that topic. They're asking how COVID is covered and how it will be covered in the future. And now, the topic that we're going to be discussing was very broad, and it will not be on a case-by-case basis because we need circumstances of every individual case to talk about that. So in that case, we are not actually providing any kind of advice of any sort. Now, if you do want the more specific questions answered, please contact me at www.grahamwealth.com/contact-us. That's www.grahamwealth.com/contact-us. And of course, we'll answer your questions as best as we can. So now, given that this is a very general discussion, we'll start generally. The recent COVID-19 pandemic has turned all of our lives upside down. That includes our personal lives and our business lives. I guess the most affected are the ones that actually have the coronavirus, the COVID, and those who are looking after them. But I suppose the ones, some people have died. Many people have lost their jobs. A lot of us are working from home. A lot of kids are being taught at home. So there's been massive disruption. In my industry, which I'm an investment advisor, as I mentioned, there's been massive disruption and volatility. About 3 months ago, I guess, 3 to 4 months ago, when coronavirus first showed up on our shores here in North America, there was quite a correction. Now that correction, basically, there was quite a recovery as well to follow that correction. And I think that the reason why there's so much volatility in my side of it, which is in investments, is because there's been a battle between the optimism and pessimism. I guess the optimism is based on the coronavirus it's a pandemic, but it's a natural entity. It's a biological entity, and it'll have a lifespan. So that means it will not be here forever. Hopefully, it will not be here forever. So it will pass.
As we hope, yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
It will pass. But on the other hand, as it lingers here, it has tremendous effects economically. And so because of that, there's been both optimism and pessimism as to there will be a cure, or there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. On the other hand, there's a tremendous amount of economic disruptions happened already. And how much more are we going to have to endure? So that's on my side. Now, of course, my job as an investment advisor is to basically mitigate the risk in a situation like this, as well as look for opportunities. And that's just my job. That's Jeff's job too. Jeff has to deal with situations as well. And he obviously deals with insurance. And I wanted him to come and talk about how the insurance industry is dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I think it's specific to the insurance industry. I thought why it would be specifically a risk to the insurance industry is because not only does it kill people, it also debilitates them as well, because it is a respiratory disease. So that's where I thought it would be very interesting to see exactly how the insurance industry is dealing with this. So Jeff, maybe you could talk to us a bit about yourself and about your role here, and then maybe move into how insurance is changing or not changing due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Thanks, Del. Well, first of all, just a bit of background about myself. I've worked for Del's team for the last 5 years or so as a financial planning specialist role, as well as an insurance specialist role. So on the financial planning side, we look at creating comprehensive plans for clients that are looking at things like retirement income planning, insurance planning, estate planning, business succession planning, tax planning, etc. And then with that, we look at obviously how to mitigate risk or help with the client's estate through things like life insurance and accident and sickness insurance or living benefits. So specifically today, what I'm going to talk about is COVID's impact on the life insurance and living benefits insurance industry.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about its impact on other types of insurance, such as automobile insurance, which I don't know how that would have an impact, or business interruption insurance. Obviously, it has had an impact, obviously, with businesses being interrupted by this, and a lot of them being non-operational for quite a long period of time, and some businesses obviously still being not operational.
Permanently
yeah, or they're not operating right now, right?
Yes.
So, and obviously all of us are dealing with this differently. You're working in front of the Mutard Conservatory, I'm working on the 105th Street Bridge.
Don't jump.
Realistically, you know, I'm working from home, you're working from the office, and we're all trying to keep our distance here. So, so going to, I guess, your first question, how has it impacted the life insurance industry? And I can say that, you know, first of all, talking about your existing policies that would be in place. Unless your policy had a specific exclusion preventing a payout as a result of a coronavirus, which would be extremely unlikely, then your existing policy would pay out in the event you contracted coronavirus and died, okay? It wouldn't pay out to you, it'd pay out to your estate or to your beneficiaries. So that being said, your current policies will not have been impacted by this pandemic. Now, what does that look like for the future of insurance? I can say for the short term, rates have not been impacted by the coronavirus. The way premiums are calculated are based on actuarial tables. Now, I'm not an actuary, but what I can say is they look at the overall life expectancies of, say, a male or a female within Canada that is either a smoker or non-smoker, and they price you accordingly and according to your health as they underwrite you. And based on those actuarial tables, it's too early to tell whether the coronavirus will actually impact the overall life expectancies of individuals. There would have to be sort of an extreme number of cases where younger people were passing away as a result of this. So currently no changes to premiums. And I don't really see an impact to future changes to premiums unless it really impacts the mortality tables. Now, my personal opinion, I don't think it will, but again, we don't know where this virus is going. We all hope that at the end of the day, you know, we eventually get a vaccine. We're all hoping in early 2021 or September or whenever we're hoping for, sooner rather than later. And then this thing is under wraps, but again, a little bit too soon to tell.
Well, what about the case of disability insurance? I mean, I would, to the extent that the COVID is a respiratory disease, I imagine we don't really know once again, but I imagine there would be long-term effects to the COVID. Are you finding this affecting the disability market, this insurance market, or?
Well, again, great question. You have to ask, how will COVID impact someone's health in the future, and will it debilitate them? Okay. So what I mean by that, long-term disability, I'm not referring to short-term disability, which is a different type of contract. Okay. Long-term disability pays out after a certain elimination period, and the most common being 90 days. And it's really started to impact us since mid-March. So really, we're only into month 4 at this stage. So
Okay.
if anyone's starting to claim on disability long-term as a result of having COVID, that would just be starting right now. And basically, a doctor would have to indicate that the coronavirus has impacted a person's ability to work beyond the 3rd month. And from what we're seeing in most cases is people don't tend to have long-term effects of COVID. But again, very difficult to say. It may create lung issues that we're not knowing about. It may create other issues with the body that we're not knowing about. And we may see long-term disability claims starting to prop up. And if that's the case, then definitely insurance carriers would look at that and want to increase future premium rates. Now, what I can say with your current policy, again, if you have an existing policy, same thing as the life policy, unless it has an exclusion on the policy of a payout as a result of a coronavirus, which again is highly unlikely, then your disability policy would pay out in the event of a disability claim as it pertains to the policy itself. Now, that being said, I don't know how it's going to impact future disability, underwriting of future disability policies. I think it's, again, too early to tell. And if we get this coronavirus figured out and there's a vaccine and we don't see any long-term impact to health issues, then it won't have an impact on disability underwriting, future disability underwriting. But if we start seeing long-term impacts to a person's health, where all of a sudden disability claims are going up dramatically, then definitely it would impact that. Again, sorry for such a vague answer, but I guess at the end of the day, I would say it's a little too early to tell, but in my opinion, highly unlikely to impact future disability rates.
And what about critical illness? I know this is starting to become maybe technical. Maybe you could explain the difference between critical illness and long-term disability. But what about critical illness?
Yeah, definitely. So again, long-term disability is tied to income. It's your ability to earn income, and in the event that you get become disabled and unable to earn that income, then you go on your disability claim and you receive usually a monthly income, a percentage of your monthly income for the period of time you can't work. Critical illness is not tied to income, and it's a lump sum benefit that's payable in the event you get one of the major illnesses defined within the contract, one of the critical illnesses. Those critical illnesses, the big 3 are heart attack, life-threatening cancer, and stroke. Coronavirus is not one of those covered illnesses, so you wouldn't be able to claim in the event that you got a coronavirus anyway. So it's not going to impact existing policies. If you get a life-threatening cancer that's defined within the policy, a heart attack or a stroke, etc., and there's a list of major illnesses depending on the policy that you bought, then you'd be able to go on claim and receive your lump sum benefit after surviving that illness over a number of days. And similar to future disability underwriting, you would have to see a link between the coronavirus and how it impacts future claims on the critical illness policy. So as an example, does the coronavirus create future issues with the heart or getting a heart attack, or future issues with possible stroke?
Yes.
Or maybe it ties to lung cancer somehow. Again, a little bit too early to tell, but they'd have to determine cause and effect. And if cause and effect was determined, then obviously that would have a future impact on the critical illness underwriting, meaning, the coronavirus was causing cancer, or the coronavirus was causing future heart attacks, that sort of thing. And then definitely they would ask the question, have you had the coronavirus in the past? and then that would change the future rates of the critical illness policies.
Okay. Well, I guess the short sum up is that we don't really know a lot of stuff, a lot of things.
I'm fairly vague in my answers, I know.
Well,
I
that
guess
has to be vague. That's nothing wrong. You have to be vague. You know, we don't really know. We are dealing with things as they arise. But I suppose in the short term, how the insurance industry is dealing with things is that they're like any kind of business. They've been moving more towards Zoom meetings rather than face-to-face meetings, electronic signatures rather than wet signatures. And that's business right across the world has been moving that way. I mean, our business certainly has become moved that way.
Yeah, I find that ease of doing business, from what I know on the insurance side, it's actually gotten easier.
Yeah.
To meet clients without going to their home and putting them at risk and myself at risk. And I'm able to deliver the policy to them. And it's made things, the ease of doing business a little bit better. So I guess one positive change has come as a result of the coronavirus.
Yeah, well, operationally, that's positive. Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, in terms of the business itself, the insurance business, what else I can glean from what you're saying is that it hasn't changed a lot. Like a lot of things we don't know about, but as it stands right now, it hasn't changed very much. Because particularly in life insurance side, there hasn't been a lot of changes in terms of the rates have basically stayed the same. There's been some operational changes, but the actual the provision of insurance has not changed. As you can kind of expect that, because insurance has been with us for generation upon generation upon generation. They've been through wars and pandemics and epidemics, and so you can expect that insurance has to stand through these sorts of things. So that's what it's doing.
Yeah, no, I'll say that it may, in the insurance industry as a whole, it may have changed certain products, such as business interruption insurance. It'd be interesting to see how it changes medical trip insurance. That could definitely change things. But again, with anything, it's a little bit too soon to tell.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say that once again, it's too soon to tell. But the insurance industry, just like the investment industry, is adaptive, and that's what it has to do. And our job as myself, investment advisor, yours as insurance advisor, is to adapt with those times. Now, obviously, insurance is used to cover off risk, and that's individual risk. And if anybody's listening and are watching us and has concerns about coronavirus and specific questions, or even or general questions, or even specific questions about how coronavirus the risk can be covered off by insurance, please contact us once again at the website address that I gave previously, which is www.grahamwealth.com/contact-us, and we will answer your questions and give you the information you require.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And that you can get hold of Jeff that way for sure, no problem. I also, when you're on the website, because you'd be going to the website, snoop around a bit, take a look at maybe our team, take a look at some of our blogs. We try to be topical, something like this, and we try to be interesting at the same time, and maybe subscribe to our newsletter. We try to make it at least once or twice a month. Just when the topics arise, we pass them out. So feel free to contact us whenever you can. And thank you, Jeff, for giving us presentation and helping us understand the insurance industry and the COVID. And for you who are watching, take care and hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, Del, and take care.
You too.